Welcome back to the UKLC. We are ramping up to our final game of the night. It'll be Fnatic Rising taking on Enclave Gaming, and that will then preclude to our draw, where we'll have our draw for the, I don't even know if that's the right word, probably not. It'll be our draw after this game, where we will draw the 4 teams for our semi-finals going into tomorrow. We will eventually have our Tower Challenge. However, let's focus on the game at hand. Fnatic Rising, arguably top 2 team in this entire competition, taking on Enclave, our previous Tower champions from all of the points that they accrued during the Forger Champions.
Yeah, I think Fnatic Rising showed that as a team, they play really well together. But when they were met with brute force and great plays from XL, they fell south. And then Enclave are a sort of, they're not an unknown quantity, but they played 1 game last week against XL, who are our top team. And they gave them a good fight, but they didn't win. So it's sort of like, if they give a good fight against Fnatic as well, or even beat them, that really cements them as competing with the academy teams. But alternatively, they could just fall short against Fnatic, whose control seemed so good. I think the players to watch for me on Enclave would definitely be Warzy and Wizek, that Polish mid-jungle duo.
Yeah.
Because they really popped off in the early game against XL.
Yeah, I think actually the Polish force that they've got on their team...
I think just Polish players. Mystique's Polish too.
They're all so good. Why are Polish players so good at League of Legends? Speaking of the rosters, let's take a little bit of a rundown of either of these rosters. Fnatic Rising, likely we see we're going to start. And you can have a look on your screens. Shikari, then you've got Dan, MagiFelix, Xmati, and Prosfair. A really talented roster. Arguably some of the most experienced players that we have in the UKLC. The Shikari back-to-back-to-back UK champion. Prosfair, the back-to-back UK champion. Dan, who has literally been around forever.
Yeah.
The guy was Season 2 or Season 3 Challenger Series jungler.
Names get taken really fast, so you have to be there really early to get just Dan as a name.
Dan, yeah, exactly. Let's take a look at Enclave Gaming, and as Orcs mentioned, there's some incredible talent on this roster. Governor, maybe people point to as the weakest link of the roster, but you know he's been solidifying his own top lane play over the course of the last few months. There's Wizek, Warzy, like you said, Kavo and Raisins. But Wizek and Warzy, that mid-jungle combo, that is the Polish powerhouse players that we are looking at, and they are maybe the ones that can give Enclave a lifeline in a game that is arguably, let's not talk 65-35, probably 90-10 in terms of predictions going into this for Fnatic.
I think you can argue that, but then I guess the other element is that Enclave did give a good fight to XL. And I think that, yes, people still have in their head that Fnatic should come out miles ahead, but they had that same perception with XL against
The question I've got for you is, was XL playing badly or were Enclave playing well?
I mean, no one plays badly in the UK scene. I think there might have been a bit of disrespect from XL, but I don't think you can use that to discredit Enclave entirely, because there's no reason to suggest that Fnatic won't also give them that space. The fact is, I've seen teams disrespect before, and the other team, it doesn't matter, they can't capitalize on that. But I think if Enclave did put in a fight against XL, it shows that they do have some potential, and I think they can bring a challenge to Fnatic. It's just, do they ever get some breathing space? Because that's the problem, is up against Fnatic Rising, it felt like a lot of teams were just choked out from the start, and they never even saw any life. And that's why I feel like it's almost better to play against XL sometimes, because although they won and they came out at the top, it feels like you have life in the game. I think when you go against, and I can say this from personal experience, that sometimes when you go up against, it's typically been like a Prosfair team comp, because he's very safe and consistent. And I mean, Shikari contributes that too. It feels like once you're behind, the game's done. Like, you're still like, we'll still try and do stuff, we'll still try and make the plays, but the game's done. And it was amazing that XL managed to pull back from that with a big play, but for the most part, it can feel very suffocating. So I think Enclave need to find some life in the early game if they want to make something happen.
I think one of the things that we can point to towards Fnatic Rising is that even in their game versus XL, the final of last week before we went to that challenge tower match between XL and Enclave, was that Fnatic were in control until about 35 minutes.
Until they win.
Yeah, yeah. Literally, they were a coast gaming. They were winning until they weren't situation.
The crucial things to me is that MagiFelix made 2 massive mistakes. He got caught out twice in a row. That gave some space to XL when Fnatic had the Baron. And then that,
also, Mystique's just making ridiculous hooks.
Well, yeah, but also that misplay at the end from Matty. Matty had QSS, he had Flash, and he gets threshold. Okay, people get threshold, but you shouldn't die with QSS and Flash. You know, you should be able to get out. I think maybe it was a bit of stave, Jay was a bit of stave news, but I actually talked to Prosfair, the support for Fnatic Rising, and he said, it's not that they don't care, but they are not letting it phase them that they lost that week 1. In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't change their goal, and they are just razor focused on going forwards from here, and they definitely want to be the team to challenge XL this week and hopefully knock them off the top spot.
Well, this is the place that they have to start, and arguably one of the tougher sets of competition to go up against with XL already at the top of the tower. Enclave looked really good, like we said. There was that moment where we were about 18 minutes into the game between Enclave and XL, and we said, wait a second, is Enclave going to win this?
That's the thing you don't know. Is that the best Enclave can do? Or maybe that's the worst they can do.
I mean, we just haven't seen enough
of them,
And really,
they're
right?
a super team. We haven't seen enough. We don't know for sure yet.
I do think that I've got reservations, however.
I agree.
About Shikari versus Governor specifically, too.
Yeah, I mean, I think the one argument I'd make is that Shikari isn't the most aggressive top laner.
Yeah.
If you put someone like, I mean, he's not in the league anymore, but someone like Rift up against Governor, he will play a matchup to crush him.
And he'll just he'll pick Darius into Sion and he'll just smash him.
Give him a millimeter, he takes 7 miles.
Yeah.
I think Shikari isn't quite like that, but if you put him in a good matchup, he will get ahead and Governor won't get breathing space.
We're into picks and bans, but I want to continue on that point because that's a really good reflection of kind of how I feel about Shikari in total. He's not the player that's going to pop off and solo carry your game, although he has done in certain scenarios. Yeah. But he's also never, ever, ever going to give a massive lead over to your opponent.
Apart from there was that one time against Rift where he went popping at Darius, but still, even when he's behind,
right, that's like once in the
even when he's behind, he still knows how to be useful.
Yeah.
Because I feel like what a lot of people, when they fall behind, they let it affect their play and their mentality.
Yeah.
He's unshakable. His view is the same whether he's 30-0, 0-30. He's like, how do we win this game from here? What do we do next? And it's a good mentality to have, and it's the reason he is our back-to-back champion at the moment.
Yeah, he's got a lot of UK pedigree behind him when it comes to UK competitions. Picks and bans, we're going through Yorick, Lissandra, and Lucian. Didn't like the look of that last game, Fnatic and Enclave.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense. I mean, the Yorick is really strong as a split pusher. I think Eminem kind of underrated it when they left it open. We've seen a lot of teams ban it. I think things like the Jace and the Lissandra have a lot of power. And also the Aurelia as a split pusher, I've seen a lot of resurgence just because with the sustained damage in that top lane in a good matchup, you're absolutely fine. But Shikari's happy to take that Urgot, and that puts you in a situation as what is going to play into it. And
I think
if I had to wager a guess, it would be Sion, and he will pick that up.
Governor is a good Sion player. I mean, every top laner worth their salt is a good Sion player right now.
When you see Urgot, your question you got to ask is, are you going to play something aggressive into it like the Silas? And I don't think Governor's the sort to do that. Yasuo going to come out, and then the Gragas very quickly. So,
wow.
I mean, this is interesting. You don't see as much Gragas jungle nowadays.
No.
You can pick it. I would make the guess that this isn't a Gragas jungle.
And it could be a Gragas support for Prosper?
It could, potentially. I think that's where I expect it to go, because I don't know why you'd pick your jungler so soon if it's going to be a Gragas, especially with other stuff on the table. But it gives them the flexibility is the crucial thing. I think these Sewer picks, once we've seen banned away a lot, does great in the split push, although I'd wager with the Olaf here.
Infinity Edge changes as well.
Yeah, those changes, those crit changes have completely just pushed him up in priority. So I think it's a huge pick. And if you look at the roster of Fnatic Rising, there's a lot of people who could take that Yasuo and put it into good use. I think arguably Shikari, MagiFelix, or Matty could. I don't think it's going to be Shikari with the
Urgot. I mean, the thing is, it could be MagiFelix, Urgot mid. I mean, it gives them that flexibility, right? I have a feeling, given MagiFelix's pedigree in solo queue, he's probably got a few Yasuo games under his belt.
Yeah.
I would be wagering that MagiFelix is the guy that takes this to mid. And looking at these mid lane bans coming out, it is going to be the LeBlanc. Ryze getting banned out too. I mean, there is targets now towards a potential mid lane sort of, I guess, focus, which is interesting because maybe Enclave don't think that that's going to be Yasuo.
I think they know the flexibility of it. The concern I have as well is that if you look at a composition from Fnatic, if you put that Yasuo mid and you put that Gragas support, you really lack in the AP. So Ray's question is, how are you going to fill out the AP from your composition? And that's going to be the question. We'll go over to Enclave. They have picked up that Ezreal and Thresh we shouldn't talk too much about. Kevo confident on the Ezreal and the Thresh. We've seen it work a lot of wonders in the UK scene. Will Reasons be able to live up to that?
You got to pick your jungler. I'd assume you'd pick your jungler here.
I would make the bet to pick the jungler.
Yeah, and
the thing is, I feel like this could be a smart draft from Fnatic because they put in a position where you might go in and go, well, you know, they pick Gragas to probably jungle. I feel like they might have done that as a bait, and they might pick a different jungler here. So Kha'Zix's going to come in from Enclave. I don't see Dan because you know how he plays.
Yeah.
He plays that controlled farm, get ahead style. Gragas is that I want to gank some more, and then I want to gank some more. So I just don't see it as a champion he would pick with how he's been playing recently, but
sure.
I could be wrong, okay?
No, I mean, that's very likely going to be Karthus jungle then, I'd assume.
Yeah, I mean, that answers all the questions. It fills out the AP in that composition. It means that Dan is playing something where he does farm. And it's pretty strong at the moment.
It is. Karthus has got R, which makes him good.
Yeah, the only concern I'd have is into the Kazakhs.
It's Matty. It's Matty playing. It's got to be Matty. It's the Gragas Yasuo bot lane combo, surely. And then, where is everything else going?
I would wager it could well be...
This is a mental draft.
Yeah, you got a lot to think about. We'll take stock after we see the last pick coming out from Enclave, but I think it does fill out the AP in their composition, and it does mean that you can put that Gragas support. The only concern is into the Kazakhs. The Kazakhs is, if you get on top of the Karthus...
It's Nico. Nico's the final pick for Enclave.
Are we sure?
Yeah,
that went away very quickly.
That was Nico. That was unless there was an error in draft and we have to go through it again. But that was Nico.
Okay, let's take stock of what we know.
It's a bug. Okay, right. We've just heard it's a bug. Okay.
Nico's off the table. The rest of it. Okay, so we have Jarvan, Urgot, we have the Gragas, we have Yasuo, and we have Karthus on Fnatic. I'm going to wager Yasuo, Gragas bot lane.
Yep.
Karthus jungle. Urgot top and Jarvan mid.
Okay.
Alternatively, it could be Jarvan top and Urgot mid, but I think it's going to be Karthus jungle.
So we haven't seen the mid laner response from Enclave. Enclave could very well be facing a Yasuo.
That leaves it up to the flexibility.
An Urgot and a Jarvan in mid lane.
From that composition, though, the only thing that says to me AD carry would be the Yasuo.
Yes.
I think that's a viable bot lane pick.
I mean, you could. I have seen from time to time.
You could play Karthus in the bot lane.
Yes, but I have also seen Jarvan Gragas bot lanes, which, you know, you've got that all-in potential there. It just is not super high in damage, right? And they're quite easily poked out. So I think Yasuo is the one that's more likely to get up close and personal. But I mean, that's a wild composition from Fnatic Rising. I'd love to see what Enclave decided to pick in the mid lane.
You know, maybe their champ select bugged and they just needed some time to work things out.
Because they were like, we don't know what's going on.
Or maybe it's like it was like that situation with Frostmancy in the NALCS where Bang paused the game because he's like, he's got 0 CS, something's wrong. So maybe Enclave were like, yeah, something's wrong. They haven't picked AD carry, and all their champs are like, we have no idea where they're going. And they're like, no, that's just their draft. That's just what they're doing nowadays. All
right, let's say that you were in the hot seat for Enclave right now. You have that mid lane pick to make. You've got a good idea of what you feel Fnatic are doing with their lanes. What do you actually pick for Enclave? LeBlanc's banned, I think, is the only ban.
Oh, and
Zoe. LeBlanc, Ryze, and Zoe are banned.
I think Lissandra was banned in the first rotation.
Yes, so yeah, LeBlanc,
that would be a nice pick. I think maybe Cassiopeia's open. She's still strong. I'm not sure how.
Versus Jarvan and Yasuo. I mean, you're a sitting duck, right?
It's not great.
And you might even be against the Jarvan in mid lane.
Is nice.
Yeah, okay. That's true.
It's just I don't think you have a great selection with Zoe and LeBlanc off the table. I'm trying to think.
Is Orianna a bad play here?
I'd rather play Cassiopeia than Orianna.
Okay.
Because I think Jarvan and Orianna, you just get dunked. And the Yasuo matchup isn't great either. I mean, you can actually bully him out early, but with the win more, he's just problematic.
What other mid lane? I'm trying to think of other mid lane champions.
Maybe Remake?
Syndra? What about Syndra?
Syndra's okay. Again, though, it's one of those situations where if you get dunked, you're doomed.
I feel like if you get dunked as Cassiopeia, you're kind of doomed.
Yeah, maybe even... It's not a great
Are there any mobile mid laners that we've got left?
You could maybe take something like Aatrox or Akali, which are nerfed and not as good, but I feel like if you take... Maybe even Zed would actually be a viable pick.
Zed might be okay,
Zed does good in Yasuo. Zed does good into Jarvan, because you can dodge away his combo and ult. If it's Urgot, then you just...
Is Fizz ultra bad here?
You just go AFK. I think Fizz is just generally ultra bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't seen him in ages because all the changes, he's just kind of gone under the weather. I think also he's not the best to benefit from how the AP items have transitioned.
What AP have we actually got on the side of Enclave if we think about it now? Because they're running a...
Sion.
Kha'Zix.
Yep.
Blank.
Yep.
Ezreal. And Thresh.
Thresh, yeah.
You have no AP.
The Ezreal provides AP. A little bit, tiny bit. But people used to say that and be like, you know, not really. But it now actually does.
Yeah,
You can go the AP heavy build, and they can't just itemize pure armor. So you could theoretically...
What about putting Ezreal mid, and then picking like something else AD carry?
I'd say no. Because any of the AD carry into Yasuo, which Yasuo in the bot lane, is not going to be a fun time.
Sure.
I would probably go with the Zed mid, or if there's something that Warzy thinks he can bring out that he's confident in.
So you commit to the full AD.
Because the thing is, if you play something without mobility into Urgot or Jarvan or Yasuo, although I don't think it's going to be Yasuo, you're just going to lose. Like, imagine if you're playing Vel'Koz or something, or Syndra.
Or even Aurelion Sol or something like that,
and you just get dunked. And you're like, cool. I mean, Aurelion Sol is actually slightly better than the others, because you actually have your ult to push him out.
Sure.
So you actually have some, like, workability with melee champions. Aurelion Sol wouldn't be bad, but, like, we're still... these are really fringe picks. They've been sort of drafted into a corner as to what wars he's going to play. Maybe he's just going to go for something completely vanilla and normal.
Maybe we just get Sion mid, and then we have something else top.
Doubtful. I don't think what would Governor pick into? I mean, he doesn't know what he's playing into against. That's the problem. There's a lot of flexes. I feel like either Fnatic are being genius and they've just got so many variations, or it's just going to fall apart and they're like, who's playing what? Maybe they're having a fight right now of who's going to get to play what. They're like, no, I want Yasuo. I want Yasuo. You can have Jarvan.
I'm already Tracer. Sorry. No, I'm waiting for confirmation about when we are getting into game here. I believe they probably have to cycle through the draft once more and just waiting
they have to give us time to theory craft everything.
Exactly. So unfortunately, we are waiting to get into the game, as you may have imagined. We actually, I believe that was the second champion select bug that we had, so we might have had to run through draft 2 times already. So we actually didn't show the first one because there was a bug super early on.
Struggling to lock champions. I'm trying to think what other mobile champions you could play mid that would work feasibly, because I feel like if you take something that isn't mobile, you're just gonna have a bad time into the potential job in mid, or you still. I mean, it could. We could play the
name a champion game from A to Z.
We're assuming it's gonna be a Karthus jungle. It could still be a Karthus mid and a Jarvan jungle.
Could, yeah, that's very true.
I don't know why you would do that, unless your mid laner is Froggen. I don't know why you would do it. So maybe.
I mean, Golden Guardians have shown that you can do it.
Yeah.
So. You know, it's possible.
You know, unless if your mid laner is Froggen and he's literally like, this is what I want to play, then shit.
I mean, they've got Magi Felix.
True.
He's up there in terms of individual mechanical skill.
I'd like to see him on something like Jarvan, because you can go aggressive with it. It's hard to lane into because he just pokes you constantly, and the second you overstep, you just combo. Oh, we are getting underway. Thankfully,
it's a surprise mid lane pick. Let's just figure out what happens when we get into game.
Okay, so it will be drumroll.
Nico, which it was Nico, and it's Nico mid.
Okay, so I was actually pretty right. They sent the Urgot mid and the Jarvan top, which I said was one of the combinations. But the key thing is they have the Karthus jungle, they have the 280 carry and the Gragas support. I was pretty spot on. And then they're opting for the Nico mid, which is a champion. You know, I'm not sure what I feel about this, because again, I think it's okay into the Urgot. They actually seem to be stancing the Sion mid lane.
No,
actually,
that's
Nico. I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. I haven't seen Nico. I haven't casted Nico. This is my issue. But I'm not sure how it's going to do in the Sion. I think your kill pressure is pretty low. But I suppose he's so thick.
I think there's some mental mind games going on right here, because they look like they put Sion mid, and maybe Fnatic just assumed that was Sion mid because they saw it on their screen, so they sent Urgot with Magi Felix to the mid lane. Yeah, and now Sion's bot lane.
Governor's gonna cheese bot lane.
Oh,
this
my
is
goodness.
So, please.
Oh, he gets the cheese!
That's the flame!
Oh, Urgot! X-Matty doesn't... I don't think he's going to go down, though. But he is going to get forced back very early on.
Oh, the cheese is there.
Oh, he cheesed it.
He did it.
And he doesn't even miss a minion. I mean, he misses the CS, but he doesn't miss the experience.
What a player, Governor. Expert on this Sion, and forced Matty out of lane, and he has to recall already, which isn't a great situation, especially on a Yasuo, because if you fall behind a Yasuo, you're a melee champion. What are you going to do?
Okay, we didn't really get this time in Champion Select because obviously we didn't exactly know what the last pick and last draft was going to be from Enclave. Let's talk about what these compositions need to do now, Orcs, and then we'll start with Fnatic.
I think Fnatic's late game is pretty disgusting.
Yes, I would agree.
Very disgusting. I think if they team fight and they get on top of anyone squishy, and even anyone not squishy, I think they just need to get to the point where they scale and force engages. I think the advantage for Enclave is if they have good pick potential. Like you have the Nico and the Kazakhs who are really good at picking people off when they're alone. So I think it's very much Fnatic want to get strong in group, and Enclave want to find people not grouped and kill them.
And also, I think if you're Enclave...
or find a 5-man Nico ult, that works too.
Yeah, 5-man Nico, always fun. And you've got Dan on this Karthus, and I think we sort of talked about the game previously where we had Barrage running the Karthus, and we said there aren't like super good targets for the Karthus in this game. There's lots of good targets for Karthus, apart from the Scion in this game for you know, if you're going up against Enclave. So if Dan can get snowballing and start to get his ultimate rolling.
I mean, that's the thing is that you run in with the engage, and this is the power, the Urgot, and I mean, just that entire composition. They just run in, they cast ultimates, and someone dies. Like, there is no way, like, if a Jarvan ults you, and then Gragas throws the cask, and then Yasuo ults you, and then you hit with Urgot and the Karthus ult, there's no way you don't die. There's no defense to that.
Their team fight's disgusting. Like, if they get into a team fight situation, especially a 5v5, Fnatic are just winning that every day of the week.
Plus, crucially, I think, because obviously we saw Matty lose out last week to XL because of that crucial hook. He now has a wind wall, so there's no excuse.
Extra protection for those hooks versus the Thresh. The consistent damage from Enclave just doesn't seem good enough to win out in strict team fights. You know, if you go into a strict 5v5 later on into the game, especially the sort of consistent damage just doesn't seem good enough. And you've got so many gap closing abilities from Fnatic that even with the Arcane Shift, even with the mobility of pretty much every champion that Enclave have got running, you're gonna get caught by someone.
I think the one thing that Enclave can do is kite back.
Yeah.
And so they either have to fight picks, or if they are forcing a team fight, and enough, Mighty is going down.
Oh, they get the hook onto Prosper as well. In goes Wyzek, but he's not gonna commit because Prosper too healthy, and Christ, they are absolutely punishing this Yasuo Gragas bot lane, and Kavo and Raisins, they're off to a great start.
Yeah, and a lot of it is down to Governor's level 1 play, and it's given them a big advantage already, so props to them. And they're making it work. They're punishing the Yasuo for being a melee champion. When you're behind on a champion who has to walk up to the wave to CS, it is not a fun situation to be in.
I mean, we have had a few upsets. Eminem losing earlier on, a lot of people would have said on the outset was an upset. Fnatic are now 1,000 gold down at 5 minutes into the game, and a lot of that comes in this 22 CS discrepancy that we have got between Kavo and Xmati. I mean, look at the items.
The Thresh has the Moby Boots, which means he's going to be able to roam about. The Ezreal has Tear and the Pickaxe, so not only is he ahead of damage of the Yasuo, but he also has the Tear to stack up. He's in such a great situation. And I think, you know, yes, the team fight from Fnatic is better, but if Enclave managed to kite it back, you know, if you're running through the Nico ult, the Thresh cage, and you're trying to get on this Ezreal who's firing Mystic shots at you, things can be difficult if you don't have the damage there.
It's incredible from Enclave so far to just put this pressure on Fnatic, who we felt coming into this were definitely going to be the team that had the advantages. What do you make of the draft, though? Do you feel like this draft is I don't want to say BM, but do you think it's like an overconfident draft?
I don't necessarily think so. I think there's a lot of power picks here that, although they seem a bit odd together, like there's a reason everyone's banning Yasuo. There's a reason Karthus is such a threat. Urgot is a strong pick, and then by flexing it so they have the Jarvan top, they've given a good matchup for him as well. I think it makes a lot of sense, the things they've done. I just think it was overconfidence and not respecting the potential for cheese. Because if that level 1 hadn't happened from Governor, I don't think this game would be going nearly as bad.
Dan in the sidelines. He's going to show himself. Just looks to push that wave in, maybe.
He's just taxing his laners, I can understand.
Yeah, he just wants to tax the lane that's already...
He just took all 3 casters.
Already 20 CS behind, and Dan just takes it without remorse.
He just does not care. Mighty's going to follow him and try and steal that Scuttle Crab away, I hope.
I feel like it has to be a steal from Matty.
I would if I was him. Lucky, please, no, Mighty, take it. Well, I think they're just playing to facilitate the Karthus at this point. Matty knows he's behind.
Yeah, I think at this point you've got to say to yourself, if you're Matty, I'm not going to be a win condition, at least in the early game. And I do have a Karthus jungle.
Crucially, the Karthus now has his level 6, so he might have come over just to get that extra bit of XP. And that ult can definitely be a game changer, especially when you look at champions like... If you look at the lanes from Fnatic...
Oh, here goes level 7 onto Shikari as Nico doesn't quite land the ultimate. They're going to jump onto Wyzek. That's a big ultimate, but he kills himself with it. It does secure the blue buff, however. Wyzek should not go down. The potion saves him at the end of the day. But Prosper picks up the counter Raisins whilst he is so low as well, as he has absolutely obliterated. Can Magic Felix land an ultimate? He has got it available to him, but doesn't want to take that blind shot onto Wyzek.
Just big plays all around from Fnatic, and that's the power of the Karthus ult. Yes, it's going to help with the play you're going for, but it helps elsewhere. So we will see that play bot lane. Raisins.
Over aggressive position. Oh, no, we're back. Oh, we're going back towards the bot lane. Oh, no.
Stuff happened.
It
Even our
happened.
observers can get confused sometimes, unfortunately, but kills, people died, yep. Thanks for watching.
Sometimes our spectator client is like, no, we don't want to look at this. We want to look at the exciting action happening on the top side of the map.
Which we already saw. So thank you, spectator client. We appreciate it a lot.
I assume it was just, like, if we take a hazarded guess.
I think Raisins went a bit over-aggressive.
Yeah.
Because the problem is, it's fine when Wiseac's there, or when Governor was there. But in a 2v2, like, an Ezreal isn't going to arcane shift into melee range of Yasuo. He's just never going to do that. And if you walk up, the Gragas will just body slam you, and then they're just going to start beating on you. And the wind wall is just a complete game changer. That cooldown is so strong in early skirmishes. I think Raisin's just overstepped.
Yeah, it looks like the case. Do you feel like he was just looking to establish a bit more dominance in the lane that they have had such good success in?
I think he felt overconfident from what happened before.
Yeah.
And he underestimated the power that a Yasuo Gragas lane has just to murder you.
Looks like it's going to be an early Mountain Drake take here from Enclave. No response right now from the Fnatic roster as Nico now rotates down as well. And this is good. I mean, you've got to take those advantages where you can get them, and that bot lane pressure that you've generated from that early gank is enough to give Enclave the ability to go in here.
Absolutely. The big worry for me, though, is Dan CS is climbing rapidly. Already picked up a bounty. He is farming up a Storm, and if there's a champion you don't want to see doing that, it is the Karthus.
And that is a win condition. One of the beautiful things about this composition from Fnatic, and I was only asking if you thought it was overconfident, just to sort of assess the opinion that a lot of people may have looking at this draft, especially if they're not super sort of educated on what this draft is supposed to do. But what Fnatic has got is multiple win conditions.
I think just they were given a lot of strong champions that you don't really want to give over one of them.
Yeah.
So
it's just an ultimate power pick composition.
Yeah.
But you've got the Karthus who wins you the game. You've got Shikari could potentially win through split push. You've got Magi Felix, who if he gets strong enough, probably can look for a 1-3-1. And then you've got X-Matty as well.
Yeah, it is rather difficult to deal with. And a lot of these champions draw bans frequently. I think Urgot's the one who doesn't really draw out of the Urgot, Karthus, Yasuo. Karthus and Yasuo tend to get banned away a fair amount, particularly the Yasuo. The Urgot not so much, but it is definitely a power pick. And I think the flexibility, the willingness to put it mid that a lot of teams haven't had is a strength. But Enclave gonna contest over here. That TP can't be cancelled.
Oh, Governor coming in. Wisec now forced on the outside. That's a big engage from Shikari. Slam dunks two of Enclave as Warsy jumps in with the ultimate. Not really going to get too much done, but it's X-Matty is going down. The rest of the team, however, is forced to flee as Enclave cannot recover from that engage.
And that is the team fight. Won't the ult get him? Yes, it does. More gold going over to Dan. And a massive team fight win for Fnatic. There is just no way Enclave can challenge them in these 5v5s. And although they managed to pick up Matty again, it's a small consolation prize.
That was a monster ultimate from Shikari as well. Slam dunks down two members of Enclave right at the start of the fight. And you have people who are strong at every point in the game. Doesn't look like Enclave are ready to give this up, though, as Dan and Foster being forced out. Wisec's going to go in. Dan gets taken down. Does have the ability to try and go for this with his Q, but it's going to be a smite coming out from Wisec. And now Magi Felix jumps in, goes in, gets the initial kill there. He's trying to go for Warsec. He's trying to get that ultimate onto him and gets the secondary kill as Matty comes through. Matty flushes forward.
Shikari over the wall.
Shikari over the wall onto Cable. He gets the slow. Matty gets a double kill. And although they got the Rift Herald, that is gold followed back on to another win condition for Fnatic.
And what a bloodthirsty game. This is not the same Fnatic we saw last week. The slow, controlled, win by attrition team is no longer here. They are just looking for blood against Enclave. And with 9 kills to 4 already in this 12-minute game, we're finding it. So we'll manage to have a look over at what happened there. The TP comes in, and then as soon as Governor starts to walk forward, Shikari just instantly looks for an engage on these low HP targets. So much damage off the start, and then Nico manages to get a good turnaround on Matty, but it's just not enough. You have 4 members just beating you down.
Yeah, Prospect picks up that final kill. I think I like the idea from Governor's flank, but like strict teamfight situations, I actually just don't know if Enclave can win, like especially without Ezreal being at his 2-item spike.
Yeah, I feel like you need more damage on your AD carry, and you need to force backwards. I think this was a good play, even though it didn't turn out favorably. They managed to get the Rift Herald. I think Wisec shouldn't have jumped in then. I think you should have just looked to get out. I think both teams underestimate the spawn timers, and as a result, Enclave lost a lot more members than they had to in that situation. If they just backed out sooner, they could have got the Rift Herald and traded 1-for-1.
So Enclave now find themselves firmly behind after having such a solid start, especially on the bottom side of the map. What I like about what Fnatic's composition does as well is they have people at every stage of the game that are good. Like you like a Jarvan who gets fed in the top lane can solo carry a game through those dunks. Rift Herald someone on the top side though. They have got the pressure, but Matty is clearing these waves so nicely. Gonna get a little bit of damage.
Plating, but they aren't able to take it down. It's so hard to siege against Yasuo as well when he throws that wind wall up. Like if you have numbers, share. But the wind wall just does so much to block things. And with the Shiv as well, the wave clear is insane.
Prosfair looking for an opportunity to set Matty up here, but Kavo and Raisins are just going to back off.
That's the crucial thing, is that the engage is almost rangeless from Matty and Prosfair. Like, there is no limit to it. If you body slam and throw the cask, like the range on the last breath is so far, he can basically engage from anywhere. Like, I can't always guarantee it'll be a good engage, but it is pretty long range.
Governor should be able to get this turret with that final hit there before Shikari could even respond. That's a nice pickup for Enclave because it gives them a little bit of gold to get themselves level. But you feel like it being level, just like we talked about with M&M, it's not a great position for a composition that's going to get drastically outscaled.
I think there are still elements to Enclave. It's a bit different from the M&M comp because the M&M comp just fell apart in the late game. Yeah. There's still elements to Enclave that will be successful later on. I just think it's going to be hard. It's finding the right opportunities. They have decent poke, decent pick potential, but I'm not sure Fnatic are the sort of team to let that happen.
I just feel like you need to think about direct win conditions for Enclave. And they don't have a great split push because they've got one TP, and Warzie's not a great split pusher on the Nico. Neither is Sion, right?
Yep.
So then you've got to think about, well, where do they win? Team fights, right?
No.
Exactly. So where do their win conditions come through here?
They have picks. They have the pick potential. They have decent poke from the Nico and the Ezreal. And if they kite back in a team fight, that's where things can go well. Like if they're running up and just taking damage from the Ezreal, and then there's a big Nico ult coming through, that's where they can have success. It's just hard to execute. And hard to execute against Fnatic Rising. Not the situation I'd want to be in, but there's still life. There's definitely still hope. It's not as clear-cut as the M&M comp where it's like, okay, you hit this time and you just lose.
Maybe if you stagger those ultimates from Raisins and Warzi, you might be able to create enough pressure for Ezreal to kite back. But I feel like, you know, specifically Gragas, Urgot, and Jarvan at some point are going to become tanky. And Ezreal does tend to struggle as the game goes on versus high HP targets. Yeah. Because he's not a consistent damage output. He uses his Q a lot and doesn't do the same thing that Sivir does, right?
That's why I think you need to just perma run back and just keep throwing damage at them, because although those champions are tanky, no one on Fnatic wants to soak a ton of damage. You don't have like a Sion or a Sejuani who just embraces soaking as much damage as possible. Yeah. So, you know, if the Jarvan does run forwards, yes, he can tank up quite a few shots, but he will get whittled down, and that's when Enclave can look to turn the team fight around. How many Righteous Glories do you think Fnatic are going to pick up this game? 11. No, I actually only think they're going to take just one on Urgot. Yeah. Maybe one on Prosfair later on. I don't think you need it on a Gragas. I think you engage good enough already. I think I'm guessing he'd go towards the Zeke's Convergence. Sure. On the Gragas early on. It's great with Yasuo. Yeah, because then he's just going to put even more damage out. And obviously, whenever you're ulting on Gragas, you're expecting Mighty to be ulting as well, so it's a great opportunity for him to go in. There are other options, but I think damage. Everyone should build damage. Well, apart from the Gragas. I mean, even the Gragas can build damage if you want. Lots of damage. That's what I want to see. All right, let's take stock of where we are right now. You can see gold very even. Item spikes are starting to open up now, and if you look at what we've got, Shikari is super strong at this point in time. He's got that Black Cleaver alongside the Tiamat. You've got a needlessly large rod that's there for Dan, the Black Cleaver, and I think he's working towards a Righteous Glory on Magi Felix. There's the engage coming through onto Kevo. He is so low, but does get the lantern out. A really nice pace lantern from Raisins. He's going to get it. Is he going to get it? Yes! Yeah. He picks up the kill. Nothing he could do to save Kevo there, and Dan getting much more success out of these ultimates than Scuzzy was. It's so frustrating, but there actually might be a play here. Shikari's caught out in the turret. Caught out in the turret, but does manage to back off. He did place a defensive flag to give him that EQ combo out there, which was really nice. And a great defense from Enclave, actually, to defend this mid lane tier 1. It's so frustrating, though, because Kevo was like, oh, I got out. You know, look how much they bid. And then the Requiem comes down, and it's just like, what do? You can just contemplate your existence in those few moments before your life is snuffed out. And the extra gold goes to the Karthus, who's already sitting on 6 Dark Seal stacks.
And actually, Karthus is getting the sneaky damage in here because Ezreal has even gone for the Ninja Tabai, seeing the fact that he's got to deal with Magifelix, Mati, and Shikari, all of which can threaten him in team fights. And then you've got Dan, who's like, well, no one's built Mercury Treads, guess I'm just going to kill everyone.
Yeah, I mean, there is MR starting to come out from Governor, but I mean, no one else wants to eat the Karthus ult, and Kevo has fully stacked his Mirror Mana and got that second tier in a way, so it is in a good position, and honestly, under normal circumstances, I'd say he can put out more damage than the Yasuo. But the problem is Yasuo doesn't have to deal with like a Jarvan, Karthus, Urgot, and the Yasuo himself running at him. Yeah,
you often just say like, oh, Ezreal's going to put out more damage, obviously, than the Yasuo. He's got 2 item spikes, this is great. But people don't think about the mechanics of teamfights a lot.
Yeah.
Like, if you think about a player who is going to have an EQ combo Jarvan with his ultimate engaging on him, he's got to get away from a Karthus, he's got to get away from an Urgot.
You saw what happened before is that Shikari comboed him. Even though he got away with the Lantern, they just pressed R, and it's like, cool,
yeah.
Okay, your team fight's over.
So whilst all that's going on, how many times are you going to land a Mystic Shot, and how many times are you going to basic attack the enemy? In terms of your damage output, you feel like it's severely limited versus this composition.
I feel like they have to try to find picks or poke, but up until now it's been difficult, and Fnatic have actually been the ones ahead of the curve when finding picks, as they did onto Kevo before.
Dragon spawning soon. Fnatic are gearing up for this one. It looks like it's going to be another Mountain Drake, which is an engage from Governor comes through, but not going to get any work done. Governor just trying to zone them away. And then what it did do is give Enclave the ability to get pressure over this Dragon, and it pushes Fnatic out of that situation. So actually, all said and done, it's a pretty decent ultimate.
Yeah, the TP is not actually available for Magifelix because he's got that different summoner spell. He's confident to take that top tower, and Fnatic aren't willing to go for that, and there's no way you can steal the Dragon as a Karthus. There's no way you're going over the wall and getting back, and I don't think I'd be willing to sacrifice myself for a Mountain. So Enclave taking some victory here. Again, we said their team fight 5v5 will be difficult unless they find a way to kite, but 2 Mountains isn't a bad thing to get, and Isaac managing to get away thanks to that flash, but Warzy could be in trouble.
Slam dunk onto Warzy, there's the ultimate comes out, does provide a lot of zoning, and that's going to be Shikari pulled in. That was a great ultimate from Warzy, and now Enclave are looking to follow up. That is what you talked about, that ability to just kite back, and actually Nico in that ultimate is a very safe champion.
I mean, it was just a really bad dive from Fnatic. I mean, great play from Warzy, no doubt.
Yeah.
But he still had the stopwatch. There was no way you were killing that Nico, and I just think they got a bit overconfident. Yes, your team fight's good, but you really shouldn't be diving towers against a Nico who has stopwatch as well.
Magifelix pushed back here, some zoning potential as the windmill stops that Raisin Hook landing. And yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe Fnatic felt like they needed to force the issue a little too much in that situation. And although the scoreline is 10-5 right now, it is only 1,000 gold between the two teams. Maybe it is that tower that Enclave have over Fnatic right now, but it's still looking pretty good. I think also the Ezreal
gets a lot of free gold and still has a CS lead over that Yasuo from those early plays. Gonna get dicier later on when Yasuo really starts to farm up a Storm. But for now, Enclave's still in an okay position for this game. Rabadon's just finished.
Oof, that's a big pickup.
It's so early. No one has MR apart from Governor. Like Ezreal has a very strict build whereby you pick up your tiers, you stack them, you pick up your second tier. You know, he doesn't want to invest in MR early, like we saw the Draven do with the Hex Drinker. But
Seraphs will give him that ability to block at that crucial time, though.
It will, but it's not going to give him any MR, and I think Dan is just going to blow people up when he presses Requiem.
Yeah, I completely agree. And like we said, in this game, he's got 4 targets that he is very happy to hit with Requiem. All 4 on the bottom side of the map, excluding Governor, are solid targets for that Requiem right now. Although you can see Aegis has been picked up by Raisins. I imagine he's going to take that towards a Locket, and that will give him the ability to provide some shielding for his team across the board.
Yeah. Interestingly, we have seen the Kindle Gem and the blue thingy. I've forgotten the name.
Glacial Shroud.
Glacial Shroud. And this is something that I've spoken to Prosper about. He likes Kindle Gem a lot. He rates it as an item, but he's not too fond on the stuff it builds out of, at least early. So he'll often pick it up and just hold on to it for that CDR and HP. So I actually think he is going to go for that Zeke's Convergence. But just for now, he just picked up the Kindle Gem. So now he's hitting that CDR limit. He's at 30%, I believe. might have some more from his runes. But already a lot of CDR on a champion, Gragas, who is very much gated by his cooldowns.
Shikari going to get a free turret in the bottom side of the map because Governor showed himself towards that center. And that's going to be a nice pickup for Fnatic, give them a bit of extra gold boost here, and also give them that tower advantage now over Enclave themselves. In the meantime, Matty pretty close to the Infinity Edge. That'll be a really big pickup as Prosper maybe felt like he was caught out of position, but the Nico Mirage once more confusing Fnatic just a little bit.
Hard to keep track of.
Yeah.
I think it'd be pretty crucially funny if they went for an Engage or a Cart Assault on the back of a Nico clone. Or was he trying to play some mind games? And, you know, although Fnatic have looked really strong here, I still think Enclave are very much in this game. And considering they went head-to-head against XL and gave them a good fight, or last week's winners, and they're up against Fnatic now, and it's within a hair's breadth, it shows, I think, the potential of this team and how strong they are. Yeah,
I think absolutely. And specifically, Wisec and Warsy have been really good as that jungle mid combo. Like you said, I've actually been very impressed with Warsy this game, who went for that Nico. It's a strange pick. You don't see too much of it in the mid lane right now, but he's made it work really well. He's picked up the Zhonya's on top too, so he's got plenty of ways to keep himself safe in these teamfight situations.
I mean, this is a crucial thing where things are going to get a bit more favorable for Enclave. Once you can start to invest in defensives for your carries, once that Ceres is fully stacked for the Ezreal, you actually aren't as much at risk of getting blown up by the enemy team, because right now, if Cast Expresses are, and they didn't have that Zhonya's, they don't have that Ceres, both carries would be probably sub half HP, which is such a bad position to be in of one ability. So it definitely pays in dividends to have that backup. And
oh, it's the Nico, and they're going to go straight onto Warsy as the ultimate comes out. Huge root on that ultimate as Matty gets blown up on the backline. A shutdown comes through. Shikari, though, he's not done just yet, and the slam dunk manages to clean up a good portion of the Enclave roster on the backside of the map. In the meantime, MagiFelix doing MagiFelix things, and the only member left alive is Governor. Prosper picks up
I don't know
the signature for there, but that was...
I don't know if I'd be flexing after that play.
But regardless of what happened there, Fnatic do come out on top and they're going to go straight for Baron.
I think it shows the strength of Fnatic's engage, that even though they forced the engage onto the Nico and it nearly backfires, they still hard win out. And now they're going to turn onto the Baron, and there's going to be no contestation to this. Fnatic in a great position to snowball this game.
Going to pick up the Baron. And with Fnatic doing a bit of 1-3-1 this entire game, this is going to make them much stronger now in those side lanes. Governor is the only member that Fnatic are just ignoring for the most part. He doesn't really deal that much damage, but he's also pretty tanky.
Yeah, so just let him do his own thing. But you're now in a situation where the Medjay is complete, and look across the builds of the members of Fnatic. Stopwatch picked up by Shikari, Stopwatch picked up by Dan, Stopwatch picked up by Mai. They know that this next team fight is probably going to be the last one. They have the Baron. They're looking to win the next team fight and then push off that to the end. So they are investing heavily into this next team fight.
Every member, maybe even irrespective of the bot lane that went a bit south in the early game, Fnatic have got that carry potential. And they're gearing up for a dragon. I don't know if you're Enclave, if you want to be in that situation. Matty goes in, big ultimate, and that is huge damage that Matty's managed to put down. Stopwatch is very early. Unfortunately, can't follow up onto Wisec, but it doesn't matter because MagiFelix and Shikari are the men to be worried about in these frontline situations.
Governor needs a lantern.
Governor does need a lantern. There it is, but they're going to jump straight onto it. It's absolutely huge as the ultimate comes down. Dan gets serious work done, and the stopwatches are thick and fast from Fnatic. They'll take out Governor here.
Oh, the hook!
Oh, the hook! Keeps Governor in the fight. He picks up the final kill, but that was... I mean, even if you felt you took out the main carry from Fnatic, they still get the win in that team fight.
I mean, it looked like Enclave were putting up a good fight until Dan pressed R. As soon as that Requiem came down, it just all started to look dire. They did a good play to shut down Mai, who has looked like the weakest member of Fnatic in this game, but at the end of the day, they come out ahead in the team fight, and they're in a pretty good standing to keep pushing their advantages.
And that is 17 stacks on Medjay's now for Dan as well, who has been excellent this game. Really has been excellent. I think both Dan and Shikari, for me, standing out. I think Dan, I mean, if I was to pick an MVP, I know Dan has done really well in terms of damage output, but he is Karthus. You just need to press R. Yeah. I think Shikari, for me, has been the performer this game.
He's made a lot of really solid engages. I think Prosper has done pretty solid as well in this Gragas.
Yes.
I think both of them have had good play, and that's what needs to facilitate this composition, because you have the damage follow-up from Matty, Dan, and Magifelix, but you need someone to start that off, and they've done great at that so far. Even the one which inadvertently was on the Nico in the mid lane, they still managed to find success from that.
You can't help but feel that we are close to a play that could end the game for Fnatic, as they really don't have that many structures.
Enclave on, waiting for it.
Oh, this is...
yeah, they are.
This is... I mean, I'm not sure how I feel about this from Enclave. Are they that desperate? Are they working off power spikes that they've got? Governor just seems to want to pull that button and pull the trigger just because he sees that Urgot top.
Yeah, I mean... I guess maybe the suggestion was look for engage now if we can get it. Requiem's still on cooldown. This is the only time we're going to win a team fight. So they're kind of desperate for an engage. But it did feel very forced. And as a result, they just end up burning their primary engage and now have to defend. And if you look, Requiem coming up very soon. I feel like Fnatic, honestly, they're just forced with the Baron. And then if Enclave step up, you just ult. You just ult, and they burn so much.
I think you can make so many mistakes in a team fight situation for Fnatic and still come out on top. Just compositionally.
Yeah.
And even if you land a godly Nico ultimate.
I mean, we've seen time and time again, when Matty dies, it doesn't really change anything.
No, exactly. You've still got
When Dan
Shikari
dies, he's still going to ult.
Yeah.
Prosper's a support, not really going to get that much from killing him. Magifelix and Shikari, they're difficult to kill, and even if you do, there's still so much carry potential.
I think when you look at this from just pure champion perspective, you've got so many power picks on Fnatic, so many individual ways to carry, and so many different ways to deal damage in a teamfight situation that it's like cutting the head off a Hydra. You cut off one of the heads, you've got about 4 more left to go.
I mean, literally, especially is with the Karthus, who you kill, and you probably regret that decision.
Yeah, one of the Hydra heads comes back as a ghost and still continues to berate
and presses R and kills your entire team.
Yeah.
So, not a great situation to be in.
Right. I think they know that's a Nico clone.
They know that time.
They're not going to fall for it the second time in a row.
Wisened up.
There's no way that Wisek would walk into their team just like, hey guys, what's up?
Hey, how you doing? Oh, this is my team? Sorry guys.
Fnatic just gearing up. Baron spawns in just 1 minute's time. They don't even need it, to be completely frank with you, but it's a good way to force a team fight or force a response from Enclave.
We've said the kiting's good from Enclave. If they do overdive in a turret, I'm not saying it is going to lose Fnatic the game, but it could make things a bit dicey. I think waiting for the Baron is a safer way to play it, especially when that composition takes Baron ridiculously fast.
Yeah. Looks like that could be the play from Fnatic. They aren't eager to overstep in the middle portion of the map right now. Backs happening just before that Baron about to spawn in 45 seconds, but you feel like that will be the final objective that Enclave have to contest, if they are going to contest anything here.
Yeah, I think you look for a team fight on that. You have good poke, so when Fnatic are doing it, you might be able to land crucial abilities onto them, and then maybe if Warzy jumps in and gets a 5-man ult into a 5-man 3-shot barrage into a 5-man Signal, that's where the opportunity comes. That's what I'm looking at, the big wombo combo.
A very, very specific set of circumstances that is going to require a miracle in terms of positioning and combination of ultimates.
Yeah, or I mean, the other condition is just that you buy enough time that Fnatic don't want to 50-50 it, and they end up losing a lot of health. I would say that you could just 50-50 it yourself, but Dan's level 16 and Wisek's level 13.
They know that Warzy wouldn't just run in there. They've learned their lesson from the Nico play earlier on here. And Fnatic now have the opportunity just to push in. Prosper goes in. That's a combo onto Wisek, who's very low. Shikari doesn't want to overextend.
Oh no, does he just die?
He's dead. There we go. Huge damage from Dan, who has just been an absolute powerhouse this game.
Yeah, and just a big clutch out play. I mean, you saw Dan contemplating the R key.
Do I press R or not?
And then he pressed it, and Wisek died. And with no jungler, an easy Baron pickup. Great play from Fnatic. He knew exactly how to play that Karthus pick by pressing R.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't heard of it before, pressing R on Karthus is good.
Yeah, it is effective. But, you know, I have to say, I am sort of diminishing it, but Fnatic set that play up. They found Wisek. Prosper and Shikari got him low enough to do that. You can't just R from full HP. Well, not yet, but maybe soon. But the point is that Prosper and Shikari set that play up, and it just shows the coordination from Fnatic. They know exactly what they need to do to play around this Karthus, and they made it work.
They were so patient. really, really patient around that Baron pit, and now you feel they just need to find the lane opening for them to push through. They have the Baron, they have the engage potential, they've got the team fight potential. I just don't see a way that Enclave find their way back here.
Yeah, it would take a miracle, but Enclave are ever hoping. So we just got to see what happens on this next fight. I think there is a risk if Fnatic over push. Maybe start diving some next towers, things could get dicey. But we'll have to see. Right now, they're in a pretty good position just to finish this game out.
Matty on the front line. Governor doesn't want to wait. He goes straight in onto Matty, who is very, very, very targeted. He has got that ultimate. Last Breath comes down and takes down the Thresh. Everybody from Enclave is clumped up, and this is prime territory for Fnatic, as the Requiem should get a huge amount of damage done. Governor and Wisek forced to jump away. Dan did a really good and there we go. Fnatic should be able to push for the win.
Flawless mechanically. I haven't seen him miss a single Requiem this game. So props to him for that, but you know, they went for Might. You have to respect Enclave picked the moment to give them the best chances. Unfortunately, their chances were very slim. They do shut down the Yasuo once again. Mighty being not a KDA player this game, but in the end, Fnatic are too strong and will come out ahead of Enclave.
21-9, 65k to 53k, and Fnatic Rising find themselves into the draw for tomorrow's semi-finals. That was a really, really well-played game for Fnatic. It was a cool composition. I liked the composition, and overall, I think they had a great impact in terms of having multiple members that could be threats. You know, that was the thing about these team fights. You cut one head off, like we said, there is still 4 more heads dealing the same amount of damage.
Yeah, and I think the head that got cut off the most was definitely Maddie.
Definitely Maddie. He definitely got the beating, but at the end of the day, he was like a bait. He was like a Nico clone. They were like, kill me, kill Matty, because I've still got Urgot, I've still got Jarvan, I've still got Karthus, who did a huge amount of damage that game.
That could have been the strategy. They could have said, hey, Matty could be saying, hey guys, I'm walking up again, prepare to engage, and it worked.
We have a MVP to talk about. It is going to be MagiFelix, the 17 KDA. I feel like they might have picked him just for the KDA there.
I feel like there were a lot of arguments in that game, other than Matty, but you know, I think MagiFelix came out very consistently in that game. I don't think he really made any mistakes.
No, he was pretty influential in team fights too.
I'm happy they opted not to give it to Dan just for pressing the R key, so no complaints there.
And you can't really give a Karthus jungle MVP. I mean, he's Karthus at the end of the day.
Yeah, but you know, props to them. They won it out.
Right, we are here with Jake, Hiprain, Matthews, and we're ready to do the draw for tomorrow's semi-finals.
Okay, so just like last week, we're going to start with blue side for game 1.
Yeah.
And then our second ball will be blue side for game 2.
Yeah.
And then the 2 last ballots will be red side game 1 and red side game 2.
Yeah, so when we make this draw, we have these little stickers inside. They have the team's names on.
This time they're right.
Yes, and they'll be right this time, and we should make that draw. So here we go. Dan's got the first one.
Blue side for game 1, this is going to be.
And it is
Diabolus.
Can I do the second one, Dan? Am I allowed to?
Yeah.
I'm going to draw.
Okay, this is
Diabolus for blue side game 1. Yep.
Wicked.
I'm not going to throw the goblet this week.
You're not going to eat it this time, are we?
I'm not going to throw the goblet this week.
You have to make sure you close your eyes.
I'm closing my eyes because, yeah.
All right, this will be blue side for game 2. Let's have a little look at what Scoundrel is going to be pulling out.
That is Fnatic Rising.
So Diabolus do dodge Fnatic Rising,
which
is very nice for that team actually. Now means if they get a good draw, it's going to either be Phelan or Darkspawn, and the team who gets pulled here will be taking on Diabolus.
Yep.
So this is the team for
red side game 1.
Game 1.
All right, who will be taking on Diabolus?
And it is Phelan.
So Phelan will be taking on Diabolus. There we go. Nice little zoom in.
No, you have to swirl it
Yeah,
round.
you still have to swirl it.
Yeah, just for competitive integrity.
It's like Beyblade.
Oh, I better close my eyes.
Yeah.
Better close my eyes.
Oh, you hold my hand. That's cute.
Nice one, thanks.
Oh, the camera's moving. Right, even the camera didn't want anything to do with that. He was trying to walk out the door.
Fnatic Rising will be taking on Darkspawn, just to confirm here, if you wanted to see that. So there we go. That is all of our games. So we are going to have, I believe, Diabolus taking on Phelan and Fnatic Rising taking on Darkspawn.
All right, well, it's actually a repeat of game 1 from day 1 when Fnatic took on Darkspawn. So quite like eager to see how Darkspawn have grown in a week against this team.
I mean, they look good
They look
today.
great, yeah. I mean, they look good versus Fnatic at the beginning of the game. And now they need to try and transition that.
They'll look good for the middle of the game as well.
Yeah.
And then
Eventually.
maybe next week they'll look good in the whole game.
Eventually. Right, guys. So we did have a thing running today. Obviously, we had our underrated player of the day. So we asked you guys to vote on Twitter using the hashtag UKLC. Later on, after the show has ended, go over to the Twitter at LVPUK, where we will have a vote of 4 players, and one of those will be walking away as the kind of unsung hero of today. So someone who didn't earn MVP, but maybe deserved that. And if there are any games from today you missed, you can head over to our YouTube channel at LVPUK, where we have all of the VODs that will be going up later on from today's games. Any games that you'd like to see again?
I'd like to see that Fnatic game again, because that composition was so fun.
I think that Feeling game against Barrage was very neck and neck for the whole thing. I think that was a good one to watch.
Well, before we end the show, let's have a little look at the scoreboard and see where all of our teams stand coming out of today. Obviously, XL do remain at the top as the Tower champions, but Fnatic rising now in 2nd place. Diabolus with 1 point, hot on the heels, and M&M tied in 3rd place as well.
Yeah, I'm fun. It wasn't even Feeling against Barrage, it was Darkspawn against Barrage. Sorry, that is the game I'd want to see. PFI with a smite steal, I could watch that on replay all day.
All day long, baby. But that will just about do it for us here at LVP UK. I don't know why I said it like that. At the UK League Championship. Thank you very much for joining us, and we will see you tomorrow. Hey, same time.
Next week.
Same time? Same time.
Same time.
See you later.
Cracking.